Would you rather be a contestant on The Amazing Race or a contestant on Survivor?
I would rather be a contestant on The Amazing Race.
Okay, this is not about where I want to be, it's what tasks can I do. And I feel like The Amazing Race is going to put me in an elevator or put me somewhere where I'm going to be claustrophobic. So for those reasons, I'm a survivor.
She's a
A survivor.
survivor.
Welcome to Second Saturday, the podcast where every Sunday feels like a Saturday.
This is episode 71, and I'm Ainsley. And Lodge Life is back in action. We are back at
Oh,
it again. I feel like it's been a
I love
really
Lodge
long
Life.
time since we've done a Lodge
I
Life.
know.
But
You know
like,
what actually came up on my feed this week was a Lodge Life deep dive from a year
oh
ago.
yeah,
So I was like, man, I mean, it's
like it
not
just
been that
feels
long,
like
but
it
it's
was a
been long.
really long time ago. When was
I know. It's over a
Oh,
month.
the last one would have been episode 62, almost 10 episodes ago.
Too
So,
long.
2 months, over 2 months ago.
Too long. Okay,
That's crazy.
well,
That's when
then
we talked
listen,
about
we're
ice.
oh my gosh, that's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about cooking at the lodge today.
Yep.
I'm going to probably take the lead on this because
Yes, I do the cooking.
you're just
Yes,
learning how
I
to
do
cook.
the cleaning.
So you did the cleaning. Did you serve any meals? I feel like you didn't even serve
Yes.
any meals. I think you were too
Uh,
young.
no, I served meals at the second lodge when we had one group we continued to cook for.
You were really good when you were a baby in the food department of sitting on guest laps while they were eating and eating the food,
I was
and they loved it.
I was the
They
live
loved it.
entertainment. I was the live
Oh,
entertainment.
yes, you were. Yeah, you were. It was like dinner theater
Yep.
with Ainsley,
Yeah, they just
and you would
passed me
eat.
around.
Oh my gosh, they would pass you around and they would feed you off their plates. I'm like, people, like she has food, like this is your food and you're paying for this food. But anyway,
Yeah.
they loved having you in their lap and visiting with you while they had their
Yeah.
food a lot of the
I'm
times.
pretty sure I
So yeah,
also got them in cahoots with when I was no longer to take limes and lemons off the bar cart. I think they would get them for me.
we need to talk about the limes and lemons too. It's all part of cooking, so we'll do it. I love it. But first, Ainsley, you would rather be a contestant on The Amazing Race.
Yes, I just think for the sake like Survivor is really cool and if you make it, like that's also really cool, but like you're just living in pain and suffering for God knows how
Yeah,
long. And I think they made like I want to do the American Amazing Race cuz you get to travel the world more whereas like the Canadian one is within Canada, which would still be really cool to see different
yeah,
parts of Canada, but I think it'd be a really cool way to like see the world and like you just get to do
yeah.
all these fun challenges and then probably go sleep in a hotel that night with room service.
You know, I never thought of that point because that is really making me want to lean towards being an Amazing Race
Uh-huh.
contestant.
I've actually
Your
had
dad and I,
people I've had people tell me that you and I would do really well on the Amazing Race.
listen, their poor sound editor would be bleeping out every 3 seconds
Yeah.
because this mom will be swearing like a mofo. And
Yeah.
especially if there was anything to do with any type of like elevator or any type of like enclosed area. I
Yeah,
don't know
but
if I could do
think
that.
you're a team, so I could do those parts.
Yeah, but what if it was one of those things where you have to choose the person and then they give you the task?
True. Well,
Although, you know what? Survivor, so
your
I'm choosing,
competitiveness would overtake your fear of elevators.
I don't think so. I think
I
if I
think
was with
so.
your dad, yes, I think your dad would just like get mad at me, like in the right ways, like, and just be like, get your poop in a group, get in that elevator and
Yeah,
get
but I
gone.
would support you.
And I'd be
Anytime we
like,
get in an elevator, I make sure we're talking about something because I know you can't have silence.
yeah, I've now learned that I count things in an elevator.
Yeah.
Like
She
I'll
counts her
count words
fingers.
on like a bulletin board. I'll count the numbers. If there's like the little holes for the speaker, I'll count the speaker holes. If as long as I'm like have my mind, and I've also allowed myself sometimes just to count and say, okay, I'm okay until the count of 30. I don't know what is gonna happen when 31 happens. All hell's gonna break loose in that elevator. But I'm okay until then.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid because I can be in a room with the door shut with no windows. I'm fine. You put
Yeah.
me in that elevator, I'm a hot
But
mess.
I think it's it's
So
it's because it's you can just open the door. Elevator, you don't have control as to when the
I have
door
no
opens.
control. I have
Yeah.
no control.
Anyways, this isn't
So
about elevators.
I know I am picking Survivor. Um,
I am a
simply, well, a couple of reasons.
survivor.
I got good social game. I feel like I got good social game. I feel like I could like get other people to do my dirty work. I not that I have a skill at that, but I think I could do that. I think I could
You'd be the
bend
alliance
I
leader.
thoughts and ideas so that other people think it's their idea and think it's a good idea.
Oh.
I think I could do that well.
So what we're
Um,
gaining from this is that you are manipulative.
Crystal Fiber. And then there's no elevators, so I think I
Okay.
would be okay. And yeah, the pain and suffering, but you know what?
Weight loss
I'd
program.
rather be fat and brown and leathery any day of the week.
Yeah, but
That's
it'd be
my
a
jam.
good weight loss program.
Well, it is. It's temporary, but it would be good. But I really think um that I'm going to try Survivor on my own. I think I would do well at that. So,
That's
with
fair.
that being said, we're going to throw this out to our audience. Which would you like to do? Would you rather be a contestant on The Amazing Race? Or would you rather be a contestant on Survivor? So please throw it in the comments. Um, Let us know. In regards to our Would You Rather Wednesday this week, which was rather interesting, I did have a couple of people personally DM me.
Yeah, I had a couple people
Um,
be like, "Where'd you get this question from? Like, what is wrong with you guys?"
it was
Yeah,
a question.
it
It
was,
was a
but it
question.
wasn't. We didn't come up with it. We have this
Oh,
lovely little "Would you rather" game that my aunt got for us. So
yeah,
we use these questions for our "Would you rather" Wednesdays because there's many different categories, and that
yes.
just happened to be what we picked
Oh,
for
yeah.
that day.
Your dad and I had a not a heated discussion, but your dad was very passionate about not eating tree sap.
Yeah,
Um, so anyways,
which is
I'm like, well, that's
valid,
fine,
but
but
we all have
I'm
our
gonna make sure,
reasonings.
you and listen, I'm sure your dad has had to unfortunately ingest a fair bit of tree sap with,
Yeah,
his line of work
work.
cutting trees all day. And a bush whipping him in the face, he's probably gets a
Yeah,
little bit of pine needles and whatever in there. I've also seen your dad lick a fish.
that's true.
So your dad has had a few
He's
experiences with licking
experienced.
some, yeah. So I think that's why he's going with the goat milk. Don't blame him.
Oh my god.
But anyways, that was quite interesting. So,
Ay ay ay.
right. We're still holding out for I just said to Ainsley, if I knew Harlan's middle name, I would be calling out Robbie and Harlan with their first and middle names about
Yeah.
these would you rather
We
questions.
didn't
Pitter
we
patter,
didn't get
boys.
our would you rather questions, so pitter patter people. We're waiting on it.
Pitter patter. But if you would like to send a would you rather question to us, Ainsley, how do you do so?
Yes, you can message us across any of our social media platforms. You can message us personally if you know us. You can send a
Hmm.
video, text, audio, whatever it may
Yeah,
be. If you don't follow us on social media, you can leave it in the comments. It's easy peasy, people. So do it.
yeah.
Do it.
Um, Yeah. So, and it's been nice. We've been getting more of a
Yes.
response personally messaging us on
Yes.
these. My one girlfriend was like, "Death tree sap." She wrote.
I know,
I'm like,
that's
"Oh
so
my gosh,
funny.
yes,
Ay
it
ay
does."
ay.
Yeah. So anyways, I love that. Okay, so we're gonna do a Lodge Life deep dive today on cooking at the lodge
Cooking.
because
That was a
you
big
had
part of
limited
it.
resources and you had limited um cooking facilities, I want to
Yes.
say. Yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today because it was kind of a different thing. And it's mostly me because I was the cook.
Yes. I was the
So yeah,
consumer.
you were. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So learning to cook. I am actually quite a good cook at this stage in my life.
She is.
And since
I
I
can
have been
attest
working
to
at the
that.
lodges, and homemade cooking, like I prefer to
Yes.
do homemade cooking. I have a real issue with using a boxed cake mix, simply because those five ingredients are already in your household. You have flour, baking powder, salt, sugar,
Mhm.
and probably baking soda in
Eggs.
your cabinets already.
Yeah.
So why would I go out and spend all that money when I can just rally up those and
That's
throw
fair.
them in a cake mix?
And it's
Yeah,
always going to taste better.
it always tastes better.
The only reason like
That being
I use boxed cake mixes, but I was also a college student who didn't have baking ingredients on hand.
absolutely.
So it makes sense.
Okay.
But if you own a house, mm-mm-mm, there should be flour in your house.
There you go. So when Ainsley finally moves out into her own house, her
Yeah.
housewarming gift she would like are baking essentials.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
throwing that out there. Baking
Oh yeah.
essentials for Ainsley, please. So yeah, so anyways, I did not start out as a very good cook. I could literally boil water, or I couldn't even boil water. I could burn it. Did not have any of those skills. I remember in high school, we had to, for health week, I think it was, we had to pick a friend and we had to make something handmade for them. And I decided I was going to make fudge. And instead of putting in a quarter of a teaspoon of salt into my fudge, I put in a quarter cup of salt. It wouldn't even set. So I wasn't, the best at cooking
Yeah.
until I actually got into the lodge industry. And I had a wonderful person that I trained under, and she was like the cream of the crop of homemade cooking and just showed me a lot of tricks and tips
Hmm.
and all that fun stuff. Yeah, so I'm really good at cooking like large quantities because we used to cook
Yes.
for before we owned the lodges. I worked at we like my husband and I managed a lodge for another couple, and we could have anywhere between, I want to say, 35 to 50 guests in per week. And then we also had anywhere between 15 and 30 staff per week.
Yeah.
So we were usually running around 50 to 80 people within the lodge itself. And so you learn to cook in big quantities. And when I say that, I used to have a flour recipe that took, I think, a minimum of 20 cups of flour. And we made bread every day.
Oh, bread
Every day.
recipe.
We would
Actually,
just like turn out 15 loaves
this
every
is
day.
this is very valid because over Christmas I took some recipes from Mom's cookbook because I want to get into cooking. And when I came back, I was going through the recipes and I took a bread recipe and in it at the top you wrote like whatever quarter this recipe and then wrote out all the separate measurements for that breakdown because that recipe was built
Yeah,
to make like 6 loaves of bread and so you
at least.
you measured it down to like 1 to 2 because it was for a large. Because I was
Yeah.
looking at those, I was like, that's a lot of flour. And then beside
We're
it in
gonna have
pencil,
bread
there
for
was
days.
actually you need this much if you're just making like 1 or 2 loaves. So she made a lot of bread,
Yeah.
and all of her
And
recipes were for large portions.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I learned all that. Cooking turkeys too. We were talking about this over Christmas
Yep.
because I love turkey. I'm tired of cooking turkey because every week I used to cook a major full pull turkey dinner at the lodge.
This
And
came
that
up
started with
because
managing.
This came up because Christmas dinner only took you maybe 2 hours to prepare and cook and have done, which for anyone who's cooked turkey knows that's pretty quick. Like I know people
Full
and
pull,
they cook a turkey
full
for the
pull.
entire day. Like you didn't start your turkey turkey until later and like we had the potatoes, stuffing, all the vegetables,
All the
everything.
vegetables, all the fixins, the whole nine
Yeah.
yards. I'm not messing around. I
And
got
it
it. I
was
got
so
it covered.
quick.
I
It
can
was
do it.
so which was nice because then we could like do stuff throughout the day and you weren't in the
Yeah,
kitchen all day. Anyways, but
yeah,
that comes from the lodge because you had to cook
it sure
turkeys every
does.
week.
And we talked about how many turkeys I've cooked over the years, and it's got to be, geez, because there were most weeks I cooked a minimum of probably two
Two
turkeys a week
turkeys.
in the summertime for like 4 months at a time,
4 months.
and
I'll do some quick maths.
and yeah,
You keep
and that was
talking.
for like about 5 years, and then after
Yeah.
that, I think I was down to about one turkey a week. But I feel like I've cooked close to or over 100 turkeys.
Yeah, you've probably
So I
cooked
got that
close to
down.
200 turkeys at your time at the lodge.
Yeah, so I'm kind of over it, but I love turkey so much I don't mind making it for
Yeah, it's just
Christmas
so
and
good.
Thanksgiving. My
It's only
dad loves
twice a
turkey,
year.
so of course I'm gonna make turkey for
You
him.
went from twice a week to twice a year. So,
You know,
it's not that bad.
yeah, slow that down.
But it's like
So
a
yeah,
great turkey.
right. So when we were at the lodge, we had a set 7-day menu. There was no like thinking of meals off the fly. Everything had to be meal prepped.
Yes.
And we always joked about that because then when we would go home during the off season, I never had anything pre-organized. And you guys were always like, time we have this, this
Yeah.
cruise when we're at the lodge, blah, 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 blah. And we put it at home. I'm
Which
like,
is
because I
it was
don't,
very true. Like we only like cuz like we'd had like she said every for 7 days you had to fix schedule, which made sense because we
Okay,
had to
so
bring in.
what was the meal planning? So let's see if we
Well,
can.
I was quite young when we did the meals for the guests. Like we switched
Okay,
lodges when I was about 9, but I know for sure we had lasagna, we had
we had
turkey,
lasagna.
we
I think we
had
had okay. So
I don't know the
yeah,
order. I know we had lasagna, turkey. We did a
okay,
steak night.
yeah.
I think we had pork chops.
We usually had some type of pork, roast pork, or
Yeah, or
nice
a
big pork
pork
chops.
chop. Um, did we ever have like a stew of any sort or no?
Nope.
I'm trying to think of what other meats there are. Did we have like a beef roast?
No, because we usually had
Oh,
steak,
there's chicken.
chicken.
Chicken. I don't
You're
know what
missing
else
your
we had.
most favorite meal.
I said lasagna. Oh, ribs.
Nope.
Ribs.
Yes.
We had ribs. Yes.
Okay, so I think
I
it
there was
went.
one day that I had a competition against someone to see how many ribs I could eat to someone else. And I remember eating it in what was our bedroom, like the old dining room for the staff. I remember sitting there
Yeah,
and I was trying to see if I could eat more ribs, and I don't know who it was, but man, I ate a lot of ribs.
dude, dude,
And I was
and they
only
were
like
so
7.
expensive. And it was hard to cook ribs because I baked them, and you only have so much oven
We only
space.
had one
But
oven.
anyways, at the first lodge we had two. Then
We
when we
did?
moved to the other one, we had one. Yeah, we had two, and I only ever used both ovens. I didn't use the elements on the second one because we had a wooden prep table over the top of it. Um,
Oh.
and then the dishwasher replaced it eventually.
Okay, that's what
So
I'm
I actually
thinking
had
of.
two.
I was like, there was a dishwasher over there, so that makes
Yeah,
sense.
we
Okay,
had a
okay.
white and a green propane oven. We had a newer white
Yes.
oven and an older green, like vintage, like 70s green
Yeah, I
oven.
just
Super
remember
cool.
the
Okay,
dishwasher. Sorry.
so I think on Sunday nights we did usually a spiced cranberry pork roast,
Oh yeah,
which I
I
still make
took
today
that
because it's
recipe.
amazing,
I took that recipe.
right? And then on Monday, I believe we had chicken parmesan
Oh, that's what
with
it was.
garlic
Oh.
noodles and broccoli. And
Oh.
then on Tuesday, we did, okay, I gotta think about this. Maybe I gotta think of this from Wednesday on. I'm gonna start
Okay.
Wednesday, Tuesday. Wednesday we did turkey. Thursday we did ribs. Friday we did steak night. Saturday we did
Was it lasagna?
lasagna. Yes, because that was
Probably.
changeover. It was always an easy thing to make.
Yeah, because you could just put
Lasagna.
it in the oven,
Yeah.
like, and just bake it. There was no other
Yes.
sides to it.
Yes. And that was all done ahead of. And then Sunday was pork roast. Monday was um chicken parmesan.
And Tuesday
And
was
then
ribs.
Tuesday was ribs, I feel it was. No, I said ribs was
Dang.
on Thursday.
Oh,
Can't remember what Tuesday's was.
pork
Might have been
chops?
a beef roast, honestly.
Beef roast?
Oh, did we had steak in there.
I
Anyways,
don't know.
I'm pretty impressed. Like it's been a lot of years since I've
Yeah.
done that full American plant. I'm pretty impressed that I have that.
That was really good. But yeah, as
And
soon as we
why
went home for the summer or for winter, we like it was very chaotic as to what we ate, which like it's weird that we never thought to like
I
kind of
I
pick
never
a
did
couple
it.
days that we had like the easy like steak or pork chops. Like it's crazy we never
Yes,
regularly had that. That's funny.
it's dumb. Like because did we ever get bored of those meals?
No, because they were so
Never.
good. They were so
Never did
good.
we ever get tired of eating those meals ever on that
And we
7-day
really
vacation.
did eat because we ate whatever the guests ate
Yeah,
because you weren't about to make a
generally.
second set of meals
Yes.
for us. So, and
Yes.
then at lunchtime, they'd either have a shore lunch, either on or off the island, like where they'd
Yep.
go and catch
Yep.
fish and cook it with beans and potatoes and corn, or they'd come
Yep.
back and sometimes you'd make soup. Well, you made soup for appetizers,
Yeah, we always either had a salad or a soup, depending
yes.
on what, like,
But
for example, when we
sometimes
had
I
turkey
can
dinner,
remember
the
them
next
being
day we
in
had
the
soup.
lodge, like on a rainy day maybe, and you'd have soup and
Yeah,
sandwiches for them in the
sandwiches.
lodge.
Yeah. And then breakfast always alternated between either bacon and eggs, toast and hash browns. And then we alternated in pancakes and sausage or French
Oatmeal. Or
toast and
oatmeal.
sausage. We did waffles for a while too. Remember
But
that?
you also did oatmeal, remember? Red River and
Well, oatmeal
oatmeal?
was always the start, either oatmeal or red birth cereal. We alternated those as
Oh,
well.
and then you had eggs?
Hmm. Listen,
Oh.
these
See,
people consume
while
thousands of calories under my
while the
watch.
guests had their oatmeal and eggs or pancakes, I'm in the corner with my cereal and powdered milk, which was foul.
Oh, settle down. We only had powdered milk the odd time, you
I
weirdo.
know. I was actually just talking about that the other day. we're talking about milk. I was like, oh, I was like, when we
Oh,
ran out of milk at the lodge and we'd have powdered milk,
oh yeah, we had backup
I was like,
powdered
if it
milk.
was in something like that you were cooking, you didn't taste obviously,
Yeah.
but if you were eating cereal, I can like still taste. It's just it was not good. It was not good.
And I normally try to double, like to add more powdered milk than what was like the ratio because it was so watery.
Yeah, it
But in
was
a pinch,
not
man,
good.
in
No.
a pinch, that's what you
Like,
had
you know
because
when you have a glass of milk and then you finish it and you want a glass of water and instead of rinsing out your glass, you just put water in your same milk glass? That is exactly what it tasted like. It was like a hint of milk. Like that is the best
nailed
way I
that.
can get you to know what it tasted like. It was milk residue with some water.
Oh my gosh, I love that you nailed that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
And so in regards to that, like we only had a certain amount of storage. So anytime we bought
Yeah.
milk or had milk in, it was immediately frozen and then brought in, and it was only used for baking or any type of meal prep. It was never, we never drank it as just like a glass of milk because it was just
No.
too much of a hot
We
commodity
would like
and it
my
was
brother and I would
too
have
hard to
it
keep.
in our cereal if we had cereal for
Yeah.
breakfast, if we
Yeah.
had milk, but otherwise, you're right, and especially that's I actually never thought about the fact that we never just had a glass of milk even after we
No.
left that lodge. We always kept like, we very rarely had a glass of milk and when we were at the other one, which is so
Yeah.
weird because, like, I know my dad and myself especially, like, we love milk, like, my
Yeah.
dad can drink, like, 2 or
We
3
drank it
glasses
regularly when we
just.
were home, but when we
Oh,
were at the
yeah.
lodge, like, it was just so hard to
Oh.
keep, and we
Yeah.
could and I had to use it more for, like, baking,
Yeah.
portions because we had a different, dessert every night,
Yep.
so it was a hot commodity, so I would freeze it, which isn't the best for milk, but I usually as you had to let it fully thaw and then give it a really good shake, and it was just fine. We had no problems with
We've
frozen milk.
always frozen our
Um,
milk.
yeah, because
Even
that
at
was the only
home, we
way we could
would.
keep it without it expiring.
Mm,
And also
smart.
a propane fridge doesn't run as cold. So
Yeah.
also had to deal with propane appliances, which were there were pros and cons to it. Would I choose a propane stove over a electric stove and oven? 100%. You can cook things
Yeah.
so much faster, and just so much more consistently. Love propane. Would I choose a propane fridge over an electric
No.
fridge? Absolutely not. There's
No.
no space,
Yeah.
and they
We've
just don't
talked
cool
about
as
our
well.
propane
Yeah,
appliances.
we did.
But I agree with
Briefly.
the stove. Like, propane stove is
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
better over
Oh,
electric.
and you can cook stuff in way less time. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but you can cook it in less amount of time. So, yeah. And so we had limited cook like heating
Yeah.
and limited
And like, not
refrigeration.
only
So
is
we
it
were able to.
hard because you don't have the space in a propane fridge or like even the ovens and stuff, and like you have to deal with the conditions of it. If it's stormy out, there's a good chance maybe some air will get in, blow your pilot light out, blah blah. But then on top of that, you had to make sure, like we had to make sure there was propane, like we were always stocked up on propane,
Oh yeah,
right? Because we just had
you were
the
who?
the
Yeah,
the tanks and stuff, and so
yeah,
I feel like there was a few times that like your tank was lower than you thought and it went out and then you had to try and get like my dad to go get a new tank and put it on because you're trying to
yeah,
cook
from like a
and
barbecue or something like that.
yeah.
But generally, like that happened very seldom. We usually had like two 100-pound propane
Well, I
tanks, and I
think it
know at the
happened
first lodge
more at the
we had an
second lodge.
indicator.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, but at the first lodge, we had an indicator so you could like and a switch valve, so they were both like plumbed
Yeah.
in. And then when the one got too low, you could just switch it, and then you just had to remember to that was the key, to remember to go
Yeah.
get a new one.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
would definitely 100% prefer cooking on propane over electric anytime, anytime. It's so
Yeah.
awesome. But yeah, there were some
But
real struggles, and
it's so weird to think too that one of the best parts of the lodge was the food, and you wouldn't assume that that would be like something you take away from that. Like I grew up on this island, I had all these life experiences, but like the one thing I loved probably the most was the food.
aw,
You know what I mean?
I love that. Well, and your dad
Yeah.
and I always said, like, when we had this fishing lodge, we were like, what are the things, the constants that we can have 100% control over? Because we can't have control over the weather and we
Nope.
can't have control over whether the fish are biting or not.
Nope.
But we can have control over the food
Mhm.
and over the accommodations and over the customer service as well. We have
Yeah.
full control of that. So we always try to make sure that those things were always, the best that they could be. And then the other things that you can't control, well, that just is what it is.
Yeah.
So always food and accommodations and customer service. We
And we
always
were lucky
make sure
that
we're
like
top notch.
majority of our guests, they were all really good people, but they
Yeah.
understood that like fishing just might not be the best the week they're up, and like
Right.
we had really good guests for that.
Yes. The repeat guests were amazing. You'd have the odd
Yes.
like one-timer that would like, "Oh, well, like I thought I'd be catching a, trophy fish
Yeah.
every day," and whatever, which is fine. But generally the expectations. And then the hunting too, and we actually did the bear hunting as well. Your dad had a really good point when it came to hunters. And because you try to get them on bears, and we had many bear stands and stuff like that. But he
Mhm.
always his saying to his hunters on the first night is that bear doesn't know if this is your first night of hunting or your last night of hunting. So when you
Yep.
have the opportunity,
Yeah.
to,
I
take your
guess.
shot, do it because your
Yeah.
bear doesn't know. Like, don't pass up just because it's your first night of hunting. You can
Yeah.
still go out, sit on a stand, get photos of bears and things like that. But that bear doesn't know. And
Yeah.
same with the fish. Fish doesn't know if it's your first day or last day.
True.
So get out there,
And
get catching fish.
with the hunting, like in terms of cooking, especially if you had hunters and non-hunters at the lodge, like for bear hunters, you cooked their dinner for their lunch because they'd go out at like
Yeah.
3 p.m. and then when they came
Yeah.
back at midnight or whatever time it was from hunting, they would then have their lunch because it was easier, just soup and
Yeah.
sandwiches. So that would probably
Yeah.
would have been hard too because for lunchtime, you're not only having soup and sandwiches or whatever it may be for your just fishermen, but you're also trying
Yeah.
to now cook half of your
Yeah.
dinner for your hunters and then vice versa in the evening. It was
I forgot
craziness.
about that, Yuzu. You're right. That during the bear hunting season, which only lasted so many weeks in the spring, and then again in the fall, it was a bit of a weird schedule because I generally did I stay up? No, I usually had something hot for them, like a hot lunch
Yeah.
at night, that I had in the oven, and your dad could, it was could warm it up and
Or
whatever, and
like
then they could
soup
have
and
something
just
hot.
turn the oven or turn the stove on and while
Well,
he's
I
cleaning
usually
up,
had
the
it
soup's
plated, I
boiling.
feel. I feel like I usually had it plated in the oven. But yeah, it was a little bit different because, and then also our bear hunters didn't get up as early as our fishermen because generally they
Mhm.
would be out until well after midnight.
Yeah.
Because we had daylight till what, 11:30, and
Yeah.
then by the time, they got picked up from their stand and um,
Lodge.
lodge, it would be well after midnight. And if they did actually harvest a bear, they would have to wait to make sure that got home and stuff like that too. So they
Yeah.
weren't early risers. It was, I mean, this was a whole other conversation. It was literally death on your dad. He literally slept for like about two, maybe
Oh
three
yeah.
hours every night for like 3 weeks straight and
Yeah.
just lived off of coffee and Pepsi. I don't know how that man did it, but he did. He
He
was
did
young.
it.
But yeah, that's right. Our meal plans were kind of a little bit
Like our
mashed
meal
up there when
times
we
were
times.
different,
Yeah.
which is definitely difficult because now you're cooking dinner at lunch and lunch at
Yeah.
dinner. And if we did happen to have fishermen in during those same times as bear season, then you were cooking them a different time. Plus, then you're making breakfast at different times, and you're trying to cook for the guides and my brother and I at different times. Like, holy
Yeah.
moly, that sounds
It just took a
like
lot of organization, which I think is why the meal plan was so key. It also helped too for then
and
knowing exactly
teamwork.
how many it was, yeah.
Because
And
my
it also
grandpa was up there for quite a while, and he was the early riser who started the bread and did stuff like that.
Yeah, like our day would start at about 4 in the morning because we had like a 100 cup coffee perk.
Hmm.
And we would have to start that. It'd take about an hour for that to perk.
Yeah,
So we always made coffee for our guests and dropped it off at their cabin, usually around 6:30 in the morning, just to wake them up. And then breakfast was at 7 so that they could be on the water by 8. So my dad and my dad to this day. So my dad was my first helper that I ever had when we had our own lodges. And
yes.
so we asked him, "Hey, would you come and help do cooking and cleaning, with me?" I was pregnant with you,
Yeah, I
like
was about to say,
very
especially
pregnant.
because that was like the first summer they actually ran the lodge was the summer I was born.
Yeah,
So
you were
like the
born in
year
August,
before
man. I was,
they purchased it, but it
yeah,
wasn't season anymore. So their first summer trying to operate this lodge,
you
here
know,
I was like knocking on the belly. Hello, you can let me
we're
out soon?
young. Like, what did we know any different? But my
Yeah.
dad came for a couple of seasons and worked with us. And so I remember when I was talking to my dad on the phone, he lived across the country. And I'm like, "So dad, like, I'm going to have you do this, this, and this, and this, and this." He's like, "Okay, yeah, I'm in." I said, you're going to be, you're going to be my kitchen bitch." And he laughed. And to this day,
Oh,
he
he
still
still
refers to
calls
himself
himself
as the
that.
kitchen bitch.
Yeah,
I
he
think that's hilarious.
anytime we talk about the lodge, he calls himself that. It is quite funny. So it was definitely a group effort. That's for sure.
Yeah. And I said to my dad when he first got there, I said, "Dad, I cannot wait for you to come to the lodge and I get to tell you what to do and where to go." stuff. Like, you know,
Yeah.
we had a great time.
It
It was
was
pretty awesome.
it was a lot of
So
work. It
Pat and
was
I,
nice. It was nice when we got rid of the first lodge because then you were more free and my dad was more free
yeah,
to do stuff. But we did
then our
still
guests did
have
their own thing.
yeah, but we did have one group of guys that really wanted us to cook for them still. So we still
Yeah.
cooked. We shut down like when they came up, we booked an extra cabin for them and that was like the cooking and dining
Yes,
cabin.
it was. That's right.
Um because they were
Yeah.
like, "No, like we still want to come, but like we really don't want to do our own meals." So we're like, "Okay."
I feel like I had a couple of groups like that. I can think of two
Yeah.
offhand, and then
I know
yeah,
one for
we
sure.
had a few of those.
And that's when
Um
I started helping, was at the second lodge.
yeah.
Yeah. Then
But
I was
like,
the
you
kitchen
know,
bitch.
you were the kitchen bitch. And it was a lot of work, but you know what? That whole meal planning, it just made the prep so much easier because you knew
Mhm.
exactly how much, you know, of this A, B, C, and D produce you needed every week. Knew exactly how
Yep.
much of A, B, and C meats you needed every week. And you literally, like, we very seldom had leftovers. Like, I was
Oh,
able
no.
to have like just the exact amount of corn, the exact amount of cauliflower, the
Yeah.
exact amount of pasta, like portions. We had that
Oh,
down to
yeah.
a pat or to a,
Which you had to. We had no storage
to a point.
space for the
Yeah, we
leftovers.
didn't have any storage
Like,
space.
if anything,
So,
you maybe had enough for I was just talking about this the other day too. We were talking about, like, portions and cooking for people, and I was like, "My mom's really good at, like, maybe just having enough leftovers for one more serving." I was like, "There's
mhm,
never more than that, ever really."
yeah.
So,
The
listen,
only
she's
thing that I could
experienced.
make like copious amounts of, and it didn't matter because there would be no leftovers, was potatoes. And
Oh,
why?
potatoes, yeah. No, because we are a
Why?
potato family.
Because of your brother. I
Brother.
literally could make a giant pot of potatoes, ration them all out, and I still have potatoes left over. And that would be the one pot that I didn't wash because my son would just come through that kitchen every so many minutes.
Yep.
He was a potato, like,
Mm.
obsessed kid. And by the time it was bedtime, that pot was empty and I
Yeah.
could clean
Well, it
it,
was
you
like
know?
it's like the beans and the corn for shore lunches. I always, once the guests,
Yeah.
like, because we always ate last, obviously, especially for shore
Yeah.
lunch, because you never knew just how much fish you had and stuff like that. So sometimes we wouldn't
Yep.
even get that. But once all the guests had been finished eating and they were slowly trickling out of wherever they were eating, my brother would take the pot, like straight off the thing, take the pot of beans, and I would take the pot of corn, and we would just get the spoon and we'd eat it directly out of the
Yes.
pot. We each would sit on that little table with our own pot and just finish off. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and so this is making a lot of sense because I can get some beans and put them in a container. No, I just want a can of beans and a can opener and a spoon. Like that's all he wanted. He would ask me all
Yeah.
the time for that, for to take to school, and I'm like, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't do that because Child Family Services is going to come take you away if I send you to school with a can of
Yeah.
beans and a can opener.
Even
Like I just
like
can't do it.
even for
But that's
me,
where it
like
came from.
oh yeah, like it is crazy how many things stemmed from look at this watch. Because even now, like if we're sitting down at the dinner table and like let's say there's leftover vegetables of any sorts or even the potatoes, like instead of like and let's say everything's been cleared and it's in the serving bowl or in the pot, like I will just take the serving spoon, no matter how big it is, and I'll
Uh-huh.
just eat it out of the pot because I'm not gonna dirty another dish. And that's what I did when I was at the lodge. I just used whatever spoon was in that
Oh,
pot and the pot itself.
I love it.
And I'll sit there as someone else is doing the dishes. I'll eat it so then they can clean it.
Love that. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. So yeah, like and
Yeah.
like the full pull meal, like every day these guests are eating for 5 days a week. They're having either like a hot cereal and then eggs, bacon, toast, and hash browns. And then they're having like the full-on shore lunch, which
Yep.
is like fried fish, French
Fish.
fries, beans, and corn.
Yep.
Which they always overindulged in because it was so tasty.
Oh, it
And
was.
then
You
they have a
wouldn't think
full
such
meal
a
at night.
basic meal would be that good, but it was like
Oh,
you can
you
eat that till
always
you
overeat.
literally cannot eat anymore.
You always overeat. And then for
Yeah.
supper, they would have either a soup or a salad. They'd have their full meat, starch, and potato and
Hmm.
vegetable. And then I always had a fresh dessert made.
Dessert.
Like
It was
who
kind of funny
normally eats
because,
like that on a regular
well,
basis?
even they couldn't.
So
Like I
true.
can remember, like partway through the week, they'd be like, "Can you give me a little bit less, like in my dinner, please?" Like they kind of ask for
I
smaller
know.
portion sizes because they're just like this is just so
Yeah.
much food.
I always said if my biggest complaint from my guests were they were eating too much,
Yep.
that's a good thing, right? I've done
Yep.
my job.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so anyways. Yeah, it was just
It was
it was
mayhem.
efficient, it was challenging. And, would I do it again? Absolutely. Oh, I
Oh
love
yeah.
cooking for big groups. I have no desire to cook for 4 or less. Like, to cook for my husband and I, to cook for, like, 4 of us, but you wanna put, like, 25 people in front of me? Man, I
Nope.
got that in
She
spades. I could do that
thrives.
with my eyes closed.
She thrives.
I thrive. I love big meals. I love big meals when I can. That's where I'm at today, easily.
Oh my
I
goodness.
love it. Well,
Ay, ay,
that's
ay.
interesting. That was kind of fun to think about that. And it's kind of got me maybe thinking that I should be meal planning maybe a couple nights a week that I have a specific meal for your dad and I. We've been eating a lot of chicken wings, so about every third meal we kind of have chicken wings
You know what
because
you
we
should
just really
do?
love them.
You should
But I
you
should.
should have a specific meal for the days that you have badminton practice.
You know what?
Oh,
That's a good point.
like on the days you're busy.
And on my bingo card here, it
Oh
says
yeah.
meal plan for an entire month.
Look at that.
So I'm sure if I start that, I'll probably just keep with it. So that's what I need to
Yeah,
do.
there you go. There you
Not
have
just a
it.
week or a couple of days.
A whole
Boom.
month. Boom
Nailed it.
shakalaka.
Love it. All right. Well, let's settle it up there. Weather. Listen, we're getting into some nice weather. But I
I
feel
would like
like
to
we'll
talk
save
about
that.
my weather.
Okay. Okay.
I have been waiting all day to tell you about my weather because I
Okay.
know
Tell me
how
about your
much you're
weather.
going to hate it.
Oh,
It is +5 out today. And
no.
tomorrow it is supposed to be +11.
My gosh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, especially considering we just had a second massive rain, like freezing rainstorm and snow and stuff, and it is all trickling away now and melting, and it is sunny out. Yesterday, I went out in just my sweater because I knew I'd be too hot in my jacket to go shopping.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I sorry, I've been
See,
waiting all day to just rub that into you.
it was minus 18 the other day, and both your dad and I commented on how warm it was. And we also are supposed to be getting into the single
Yeah,
digits as a high for a couple of days next week, which would be much appreciated. I think low of like minus 13, which is
yeah.
just craziness. And trust me, it's going to jump back up to minus 35. I believe
Oh
we were
yeah.
talking about that in 2 weeks' time. Like minus 35 feels like minus 49, something
Ooh,
stupid like that.
that's not fun.
So poo poo on you and your nice
Hee
weather.
hee. Yeah,
That's all I have to
you're
say about that.
welcome. You're welcome.
Rude. Oh my
Rude.
gosh. All right. Well, we'll
Anywho,
wrap it up there, Ainsley. Thank you to everybody for tuning in to Second Saturday.
yes, make sure you're liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell. We're here
Yep.
every day, really. We really are. We
Yeah.
really, truly are. So get on it.
Yeah.
Get with it or get out.
Come
That's
on.
about all I have to tell you.
I think some of the New Year's resolutions for people should be to like watch the episodes that they missed. Put
Yeah,
that on your bingo card.
yeah,
Put it on your bingo card. Do it. Do
do
it
it.
on your bingo card. All right. All right. Well, thank you again for tuning in to Second Saturday. I hope everybody has a great Sunday, and
Yes.
we will see you
Next
next
Sunday.
Sunday. Bye.
Bye.